The New Mexico game was not anybody who has an ounce of favoritism for the Aztecs wanted to see, but it happened. We went in and got beat soundly by a very good team who on that given night definitely were the better team. Don't like the feeling. It did happen. We witnessed it live and up front. We've been a program that, I said before, forgive but don't forget. You got to move forward, and you have to move forward quickly. I know this is coach's jargon, but we've got a game to play tomorrow. So we're well aware of March 8th. But we have San Jose State coming in. They got their first league game last Tuesday or Wednesday, have not played for a week, and they are feeling good about themselves that they can go 2 in a row. So we need to be ready and engaged and come out and play really hard and smart and together. And with that kind of energy and effort and the crowd at home, we need to get ourselves a victory and feel good about ourselves after a victory. We're pretty healthy, no excuses for what happened, and determined that we'll win tomorrow. Anything for me or for AQ and JJ?
The lack of offense, was that something New Mexico did, or is that something that you guys were doing, and can it be, fixed, I guess?
Yes, yes, and a resounding yes. Our 44 points was a direct result of 1 New Mexico, 1A, our frustration, over anxious, not making the extra pass, settling for sometimes hard 2s and missing some good 2s and 3s. Their size kept us from getting to the rim. I've always been an advocate, you adjust to the flow of the game. And the flow of that game was no harm, no foul. We shot 3 free throws for the game. They shot 6. So they didn't call anything. And you have to be able to adjust. Part of our MO is getting to the free throw line 30 times a game, and we got there 3, and we didn't make any of the 3. So I would say it was a combination of both factors. Did the crowd come into play? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. But I think it was more New Mexico, those players on the floor, than the crowd adding to that, and then of the other things that I just said.
What do you think? Are teams doing something different against X now? I mean, the last couple of games, he hasn't really been as effective. Are teams just, being more effective against him now that we're so late in the season?
I think everybody, when they prepare for us, Xavier Thames is one on their scout board. So they try to make it hard for him, but that has not just happened the last 4 games. I mean, I think that's happened prior to that. And how much is Xavier Thames pressing a little bit to try to score? I think maybe a little bit, If you go back and look at his shots that he had against New Mexico, he had a lot of good looks that he didn't make. He had a handful of hard shots that maybe he shouldn't have taken. He made a hard shot. He made one hard shot, and he banked it in. Probably got a little bit of good fortune. But I think that's the nature of how we prepare. We say we're going to make it harder for the guy that shoots the most to get a lot of clean looks. And now the next thing that has to happen is, can we trust that we can move it and go side to side to side, and then maybe he can get it back with a better look the next time? We talked on that a little bit too. I thought we settled too much, and I'm talking point specific to the last game. X has had, you would probably say, well, he's had 4 games now. I think if you look at those other games, he's missed shots that he had been making before. I think he tried too hard occasionally to get some shots in the last game. And we as a group collectively fell into the just exactly what we would want other people to do. Shoot it on one pass. Don't swing it side to side. And hopefully we'll be better with that tomorrow.
Coach, on the topic of offense, when Shrigley came in, coming off the game that he had, where he finally started hitting some threes, I think 15 points he had in the previous game, came in but only had one shot attempt against New Mexico. When he was put in, were you hoping to see more offense out of him, or at least more opportunities for him to shoot?
Sometimes when you shoot it before you make a couple of swings, you don't get looks. So how much of that was a part of it? How much was them saying, hey, this kid made 4 threes last game, don't let him get a clean look? They're a good defensive team, and they may have had a little something to do with that. Matt's had other games where he hasn't had a lot of shots, and you just have to kind of go back and dissect, see what you did. We shot in the 30s, which we've done in the past, but you can't shoot in the 30s, your opponent shoot 50% and expect to win. We had 13 first half offensive rebounds. Of those 13, I think 2 got baskets. So you got to be a little more efficient when you get second and third chances. We had 17 for the game. Rebounding totals, they had a few more than we did total, but we had 17 offensive rebounds. That's a lot. We didn't get enough baskets off those rebounds.
This is for Aqeel and JJ. What did you guys learn as players from that last game moving forward for these last games in the conference?
I think the main thing we learned is that we can't come out and play the way that we played and expect to win. We obviously got to pick up our focus and our defense and offense both, but we got to be mentally there better. We got to take better shots. We got to play better overall, and we can't play bad and expect to win.
I think the main thing is more focus on defense and paying attention to the game plan and coming out with more energy and trusting each other on offense. I think if we trust each other on offense and defense, I think we could be really good.
Hey, Steve, granted there are 3 more games between now and March 8th, but what's the level of concern with New Mexico since you still have to face them here and then probably in the conference tournament?
Well, I know we have to face them here, and I hope we play them in the conference tournament. And New Mexico going into the season, you know this, Bernie, they were the only team in our league rated. They won the league and the conference championship tournament last year, and they had 4 starters returning. They're really good. They're good. And their bigs create problems because their bigs can score. Barstow is he's a guy that is probably playing as well as any big guy in the country with his effectiveness. So we've got to hopefully get that chance, and we'll come in and we'll do a little better job on him. If you look at their stats, he was a guy that stood out, 11 for 18 from the field, and but they're a good team. They're a hard team to guard. They have weapons. They have the returning player of the year in Williams. So they present a lot of problems for teams, but we present problems for teams too. They grabbed us by the throat and didn't let go from start to finish. In that game, even though we weren't scoring the ball, we righted the ship. We're down 23-14, and now I look up with 1:30 to go. We've got the ball down 25-22, and I'm saying we're going to get out of this half 1 to 3 points behind, and they got 2 layups to end the half to have huge momentum going into the second half. They had 2 big runs. My number 1 bullet point was runs, because you get them at home, and in that venue you got to be careful. JJ gets the first basket. Perfect. 5 seconds to go, 3-4 sides. JJ gets a basket. They miss, we miss. They go on a 9-0 run and a 21-2 run, and the game's over. They had two huge runs where they just ran us, and we didn't play at either end well enough to stem the tide, and they just ran us out of their building in that stretch.
Players, for either of you or both, the things you were talking about a minute ago, are those easier to do after a loss?
I wouldn't say they're easier to do, but you're more attentive coming in. We've always been focused on those things, but you definitely got to pay a little more attention.
Yeah, I would agree. So it brings it to our attention more. You know, we shouldn't have to take a loss to do that, but it did. But no, I wouldn't say it's easier. We've always been good at that, but it just raises the awareness a little bit.
Steve, I wonder, the kind of phrases they were using, I mean, it was only your third loss of the season. They've done seemingly a pretty good job of keeping focus. When you hear like about keeping focus or refocusing or whatever, do you think that's valid, or what does your team learn?
I think the number one thing that we have to make sure that we do is, one, know that we're a good team. B, reflect a little bit about what you did as an individual, what we did collectively when we were free flow, when we were really, really playing well, when good things were happening. And when you don't make shots, it makes it harder. And when we've referenced that X, the guy that's made a lot of shots, has struggled to make some shots. However, that can't frustrate you to the point where you then act out of body or out of character, where you have to say, we are really good and we are really, really good at the defensive end. So let's make it so hard on them to score that we're going to have a chance for some runouts, for some easy baskets. And then let's say when we don't, we can't get 20 points in one possession. So move the ball side to side, take a little more time. Trust, and we use that, we throw that word around not lightly. You got to trust. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust your teammates. I referenced it yesterday to a boomerang. If you give it up, it's going to come back. Don't be afraid to give it up. If you throw it here, it's going to come right back to you if you are who you think you are. And so we talked on that, and we made reference to how many times we shot it on one pass or no pass, and that's a bit out of character. Yet at times you have options to do that. So I don't want to go all black and white on that. But we know we're a good team, and you can't get playing out of fear, playing frustrated. And I'll reference this next game tomorrow, if I can go ahead and talk. We played at San Jose State the first time, and we were 35 points ahead at one point. And I thought so my memory is, boy, we blew them out of the water. I went back and watched the game. We were 1 for our first 10 from the field, 4 for our first 17, and the score is 20-16 with 3 minutes to go in the half. But we didn't go crazy. We got a little spurt at the end of the half. We got a big spurt in the second half, and next thing you know, we had a big lead. So we can't, our fans can't, we can't get unnerved if we go stretches without scoring some points. And it's got to stay the course and stay it when it gets hard. When everything is good, you can take the guy on the street and he can come in and do it. When the wind is in your face, that becomes a little harder.
Steve, the drop in the rankings to number 13, is that something you pay attention to or not?
Yeah, I look at it. Mike May told me what we were, and probably where we should be, don't you think? I would say that's, you look at who won, who lost, where people are, probably the teams, with the exception of maybe Cincinnati, who lost at home but lost to Louisville in a 1-point game at the buzzer. those other teams have got long win streaks like St. Louis, Virginia, some of the others that migrated up a little bit. We didn't want to drop from 6th to 13th, but we didn't want to get beat by 14 at New Mexico either. So we want to win tomorrow, and hopefully string a few together to where we look at next Monday and say, did we climb up a spot or two? But I think, I'll be honest, I think that's fair where we are. I don't think the world's against us on the voters.